Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Frontier, watching the stars through the main window. The ship had been traveling for 3 months to reach the Kepler 442 system. Earth wanted to know if the planets here could support human life. Jake had done this kind of mission many times before, but something felt different today. First Officer Lisa Carter walked up to him holding a data pad. She looked worried about something. Lisa had been with Jake for 5 years, and he trusted her judgment completely. When she looked worried, it usually meant trouble was coming their way. "Captain, we are picking up some strange readings from the outer edge of the system," Lisa said while showing him the data. "Ryan at Communications thinks it might be artificial signals, but he cannot be sure yet." Jake looked at the numbers on the screen. The readings showed energy patterns that did not match anything in their database. No human ship could produce signals like these. No natural phenomenon could create them either. This meant only one thing, and Jake did not like thinking about it. "Are you telling me we might have found alien technology?" Jake asked Lisa while keeping his voice calm. The crew did not need to panic right now. They needed to stay focused and follow procedures exactly as they had been trained. "That is what the data suggests, sir," Lisa replied. "Should we change course and head back to Earth to report this discovery?" Jake thought about this for a moment. Earth had sent them here to explore and gather information. Running away at the first sign of something unusual would not help anyone. They needed to learn more about what they had found before making any big decisions. "No, we continue forward, but we stay alert," Jake told Lisa. "Tell Ryan to keep monitoring those signals and let me know if anything changes. Also tell Amy to run a full scan of our weapons and defense systems." Lisa nodded and walked back to her station. Jake watched her go, then turned his attention back to the main screen. The stars looked the same as always, but now they seemed somehow more dangerous. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Today they might finally get their answer. Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster was in the engineering section running diagnostics on all ship systems. She had heard about the strange signals and wanted to make sure the Frontier was ready for anything. Amy had served in the Earth Defense Force before joining the Exploration Service. She knew how quickly peaceful missions could turn violent. "Pete, how are our engines running?" Amy asked Chief Engineer Pete Williams, who was working on the main power core. Pete was one of the best engineers in the fleet, and Amy trusted him to keep their ship running no matter what happened. "Everything looks good down here," Pete replied without looking up from his work. "But I have been thinking about those signals Lisa mentioned. If we are dealing with alien technology, we might need more power than usual. I can give you 20% more if needed." "Good thinking, Pete," Amy said. "Keep everything ready, but do not make any changes yet. We do not want to attract attention if something is really out there watching us." Up on the bridge, Communications Officer Ryan Bell was listening carefully to the strange signals. They were getting stronger as the ship moved deeper into the system. The patterns were definitely artificial, but unlike anything humans had ever created. Ryan had studied alien communication theories at the Academy, but this was his first real contact with something from another world. "Captain, the signals are definitely coming from multiple sources," Ryan reported to Jake. "I count at least 50 different transmission points spread throughout the system. Whatever's out there, it is big." Jake felt his stomach tighten. 50 sources meant a large fleet or possibly multiple bases. Either way, humans were seriously outnumbered in this system. The Frontier was just one exploration ship with basic weapons and shields. They were not equipped to fight a war. "Can you understand any of the transmissions, Ryan?" Jake asked, hoping for some good news. Maybe these aliens were peaceful and just wanted to talk. Maybe they could work together and learn from each other. "I am trying, sir, but the language is completely unknown," Ryan replied. "Wait a minute, something is changing. The signals are getting much stronger and they seem to be focused on our location now." Suddenly, the main screen lit up with bright flashes of light. Ships began appearing all around the Frontier. As alien vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel, Jake counted over 200 ships, each one twice the size of his own vessel. They had walked straight into the middle of an alien fleet. "All stations battle alert," Jake shouted as alarms began sounding throughout the ship. "Lisa, get us ready to run if we need to. Amy, bring all weapons and shields online right now." The alien ships moved into formation around the Frontier like hunters surrounding their prey. Their hulls were dark metal with strange glowing patterns running along their sides. Energy weapons powered up and targeted the human ship from every direction. There was no way to escape and no way to fight. "Incoming transmission, Captain," Ryan announced. They are using our own communication frequencies somehow. Put it on speakers, Jake ordered. He needed to hear what these aliens wanted. Maybe there was still a chance for peaceful contact. A harsh alien voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English. Human vessel, you have entered territory belonging to the Zapirian Empire. You will surrender your ship immediately or be destroyed. Your species has been judged inferior and marked for elimination. Earth will be conquered within one solar cycle. Resistance is futile. Jake stared at the screen, unable to believe what he had just heard. These aliens were not interested in peace or cooperation. They wanted to destroy humanity and take Earth for themselves. Millions of innocent people were about to die, and there was almost nothing anyone could do to stop it. This is Captain Morrison of the Earth exploration vessel Frontier, Jake replied, trying to keep his voice steady. We come in peace, seeking only knowledge and friendship between our peoples. Surely we can find a better solution than war. There is no discussion, human. The alien voice responded coldly. Your species will submit or be exterminated. This is the will of War Commander Thex Val and the Zephirian Empire. You have been warned. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in deadly silence. Jake looked around at his crew, seeing fear and determination in their faces. Earth needed to know about this threat, but first they had to escape from 200 alien warships that wanted them dead. The Frontier managed to escape the Zephirian fleet by flying through an asteroid field where the larger alien ships could not follow. Pete Williams pushed the engines beyond their safety limits while Amy Foster rerouted power from non-essential systems. The ship barely held together during the wild flight back to Earth, but they made it home with the warning humanity desperately needed. Admiral Helen Brooks stood in the main command center of Earth Defense, watching the long-range sensors with growing horror. The Zephirian fleet was exactly where Captain Morrison said it would be, and it was massive. 500 alien warships were moving toward Earth in perfect formation. Humanity had never faced anything like this before. How long until they reach our solar system? Admiral Brooks asked her operations officer. The man checked his calculations twice before answering because he could not believe the numbers himself. 18 hours at their current speed, Admiral, he replied. Our entire defense fleet consists of only 60 ships, and most of them are not designed for heavy combat. Admiral Brooks nodded grimly. The odds were terrible, but humanity would not surrender without a fight. Earth had survived world wars and natural disasters before. They would find a way to survive this too, even if it seemed impossible right now. Dr. Marcus Lee was working frantically in his laboratory, studying the alien technology data that Captain Morrison had managed to record. The Zephirian ships used energy shields and plasma weapons far beyond anything humans had developed. Their faster-than-light drives were also much more advanced than Earth technology. We need more time to understand how their systems work, Dr. Lee told Admiral Brooks during an emergency meeting. Give me a few weeks and I might be able to find weaknesses we can exploit. Doctor, we have 18 hours, not 18 weeks, Admiral Brooks replied. Tell me what you know right now, even if it is not complete. Dr. Lee looked at his notes and data screens. Most of the information was still unclear, but there were a few things that might help. The alien shields seemed to have specific frequency ranges where they were weaker. Their plasma weapons also generated a lot of heat, which might be a problem during extended battles. Their technology is powerful, but it might not be as flexible as ours, Dr. Lee explained. Human systems are designed to be modified and adapted quickly. Theirs seem more rigid and specialized for specific tasks. General Kevin Stone arrived at the command center wearing his full dress uniform. He had been chosen to coordinate all of Earth military forces during the crisis. Kevin had fought in 3 different wars and never lost a battle, but this was unlike anything he had faced before. What is our current defensive position? General Stone asked Admiral Brooks. He needed to understand exactly what resources were available before making any strategic decisions. We have orbital defense platforms around Earth and the Moon, Admiral Brooks explained while showing him the tactical display. Our fleet can provide mobile support, but we are badly outnumbered. The civilian population is being moved to underground shelters as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison was preparing the Frontier for another mission. The ship had been quickly repaired and equipped with the best weapons Earth could provide. Jake knew the vessel was still no match for Zephirian warships, but speed and intelligence might be more important than raw firepower. Lisa Carter was studying star charts, trying to find ways to use the solar system geography to their advantage. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter might provide cover for hit-and-run attacks. The gas giants had magnetic fields that could interfere with alien sensors and communications. If we can split their fleet up, we might have a chance, Lisa told Jake while pointing at different locations on the chart. Make them fight in small groups instead of one big formation, Jake agreed with her thinking. Humanity could not win a direct battle against 500 alien ships, but they might be able to win many smaller fights. It would require perfect timing and a lot of luck, but it was their only real option. The first Zapirian ships entered the solar system exactly when predicted. War Commander Thex Val led the invasion from his flagship at the center of the alien formation. He had conquered 12 different star systems for the Empire and never encountered serious resistance from primitive species. Begin the assault on their orbital installations. Thex Val ordered his fleet commanders. Destroy their military capabilities first, then proceed with planetary bombardment. This should be completed within 6 standard time units. Colonel Sam Parker was leading Earth fighter squadrons from the main orbital station above the planet. His pilots were brave and well-trained, but their ships seemed like toys compared to the alien vessels approaching them. Sam had flown combat missions for 15 years, but never against enemies with such overwhelming technological advantages. All squadrons form up for attack pattern Delta, Sam broadcast to his pilots. Hit their forward ships with everything you have, then break away before they can target you. Do not try to fight them directly. The first battle began badly for human forces. Zephirian plasma weapons tore through Earth ships like they were made of paper. The alien energy shields deflected most human weapons without taking any damage. Within an hour, Admiral Brooks had lost half her fleet, and the situation was getting worse. But something unexpected started happening during the fighting. Human pilots began adapting their tactics faster than the aliens could respond. They used the gravity of planets and moons to change direction suddenly. They hid behind space debris and launched surprise attacks from unexpected angles. Major Kate Williams was commanding ground-based defense systems when the first Zephirian dropships entered Earth atmosphere. The aliens were trying to establish landing zones for their ground forces. Kate had studied their recorded transmissions and noticed something important about their communication patterns. Their ships seemed to follow very specific formation protocols, Kate told her technical team. If we can disrupt their command signals, they might not be able to coordinate their attacks properly. Engineer Danny Clark was working on modifications to Earth electromagnetic pulse weapons. He had noticed that Zephirian shields operated on quantum frequencies that might be vulnerable to specific types of interference. Danny had only basic equipment to work with, but sometimes simple solutions were the most effective. The tide of battle began to change when Sergeant Tony Miller led a squad against Zephirian ground forces that had landed near the Pacific Defense Complex. The alien soldiers were tall and moved strangely in Earth gravity. They seemed to have trouble maintaining their balance during combat. They are not used to fighting in gravity this strong, Tony reported back to headquarters. Their equipment is designed for lower gravity environments. We can use this against them. Dr. Lee was monitoring the battle from his laboratory when he made a crucial discovery. The electromagnetic field around Earth was interfering with Zephirian navigation systems. Their ships were having trouble maintaining precise formations when they got too close to the planet. Admiral Brooks, this is important, Dr. Lee called the command center. Their technology relies heavily on quantum entanglement networks for coordination. If we can disrupt those connections, we can blind entire sections of their fleet. Captain Morrison received this information while commanding a group of surviving Earth ships near the asteroid belt. He immediately began planning a coordinated electromagnetic pulse attack using both ship weapons and the natural magnetic fields of Jupiter. Lieutenant Alex Turner was piloting a reconnaissance fighter when he discovered that Zephirian sensors had trouble tracking small, fast-moving objects near large magnetic sources. This information was quickly passed to all remaining human forces, who began using it to their advantage. The battle raged for 12 hours before humanity achieved its first major victory. Admiral Brooks managed to trap an entire Zephirian battle group between Earth and the Moon, then hit them with coordinated electromagnetic pulse attacks from multiple directions. 20 alien ships were destroyed or disabled, while only 3 human vessels were lost. War Commander Thex Val stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His forces should have conquered this primitive world within hours, but the humans were fighting with unexpected intelligence and determination. They were adapting their tactics faster than his computers could calculate new responses. For the first time in his military career, Thex Val began to doubt the outcome of a battle. General Kevin Stone established Project Phoenix in an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. The project brought together Earth-best scientists and engineers to study captured Zapirian technology. Every piece of alien equipment that could be recovered from the battlefield was brought here for analysis. Dr. Marcus Lee led a team of 50 researchers working around the clock to understand how Zapirian systems functioned. They had recovered energy weapons, plasma generators, and even pieces of alien armor from destroyed ships. Each discovery revealed new possibilities for human technology development. Chief Scientist Dr. Carol Hayes made the first breakthrough when she successfully activated a Zapirian power cell. The device produced 10 times more energy than comparable human technology, using a form of controlled fusion that Earth scientists had only theorized about. Carol immediately began working on ways to integrate this power source into human equipment. Captain Jake Morrison was conducting reconnaissance missions throughout the solar system using the rebuilt Frontier. His ship now carried hybrid human-alien technology that made it faster and harder to detect. Jake crew had become experts at avoiding Zapirian patrols while gathering intelligence about enemy positions. Lisa Carter had been promoted to commander and was now leading Earth intelligence operations. She discovered that Zapirian military doctrine was extremely rigid and predictable. Their commanders followed the same tactical patterns in every battle, making it easier for human forces to anticipate their moves. They have never fought an enemy that adapts as quickly as we do, Lisa explained to General Stone during a strategy meeting. Their entire military system is based on overwhelming technological superiority. When that advantage is reduced, they do not know how to respond effectively. The Zephirians had established occupation zones on Earth's surface, but were having serious problems maintaining control. Sergeant Tony Miller had been promoted to lieutenant colonel and was training resistance fighters in guerrilla warfare techniques. The aliens had no experience dealing with this type of combat. Human fighters would attack Zapirian patrols, then disappear into underground tunnel systems before the aliens could respond. They used homemade explosives and captured alien weapons to destroy supply convoys and communication stations. The psychological effect on Zapirian ground forces was devastating. Major Kate Williams was developing new weapon systems that combined human kinetic projectiles with alien energy technology. Her team created hybrid rifles that could penetrate Zapirian armor and disable their personal shields. These weapons were quickly distributed to resistance fighters throughout the occupied territories. Engineer Danny Clark was working on perhaps the most important project of all. He was designing hybrid spacecraft that used both human and alien technology systems. These ships confused Zapirian sensors because they did not match any known human or alien configurations. The first hybrid fighter was piloted by Lieutenant Alex Turner, who had volunteered for the dangerous test flights. The ship was faster than any human vessel and more maneuverable than Zapirian fighters. Alex used it to conduct deep strike missions against alien supply lines behind enemy positions. Dr. Lee team made another crucial discovery when they analyzed Zapirian communication systems. The aliens used quantum entanglement networks to coordinate their forces across vast distances. However, these networks had a critical weakness that could be exploited with the right equipment. If we can introduce quantum interference into their communication grid, we can disrupt their entire command structure, Dr. Lee explained to Admiral Brooks. Their ships will lose contact with each other, and their ability to coordinate attacks will be severely reduced. Meanwhile, Dr. Carol Hayes was studying Zapirian biology using tissue samples recovered from their casualties. She discovered that alien physiology was highly sensitive to specific sound frequencies. Working with acoustics expert Dr. Paul Grant, they began developing sonic weapons that could incapacitate Zapirian soldiers without killing them. The sonic weapons proved extremely effective during field tests. A single device could disable an entire squad of alien soldiers by disrupting their nervous systems. The weapons were silent and could be used without alerting other enemy forces in the area. Colonel Sam Parker Air Force was being completely restructured using hybrid technology. Human pilots were learning to fly ships that combined the best features of both species' engineering. These new fighters were superior to anything either side had possessed at the start of the war. War Commander Thex Val was becoming increasingly frustrated with the progress of the invasion. What should have been a simple conquest was turning into a prolonged conflict with no clear victory in sight. His forces were losing ships and soldiers every day while the humans seemed to be getting stronger. How is this possible? Thex Val demanded from his science officers. These primitives should not be able to challenge our technology, yet they continued to inflict casualties on our forces. The Zapirian scientists had no good answers. Their species had conquered other worlds by using overwhelming technological superiority to break enemy resistance quickly. They had never encountered an opponent that could adapt and improve their own technology so rapidly. Captain Morrison received orders to lead a special mission deep into Zapirian-controlled space. His objective was to capture War Commander Thex Val command ship and its advanced computer systems. The mission would require perfect coordination between multiple human units. Commander Carter had developed a plan called Operation Thunderbolt that would use quantum interference weapons to blind the Zapirian fleet, while human forces attacked their command vessel. The timing would have to be perfect, because they would only have a few minutes before the aliens restored their communications. Lieutenant Colonel Miller ground forces would create diversions at multiple locations to draw Zapirian attention away from the main target. His resistance fighters had become so effective that the aliens now kept large numbers of troops on patrol duty. Instead of conducting offensive operations, Engineer Clark had modified several human ships with captured Zapirian cloaking technology. These vessels could approach the alien command ship without being detected until they were close enough to launch their attack. The element of surprise would be crucial for the mission's success. Dr. Grant's sonic weapons were loaded onto the assault ships to disable any Zapirian crew members who tried to resist the boarding operation. The goal was to capture the ship intact along with its computer systems and command personnel. Operation Thunderbolt began exactly as planned. Dr. Lee quantum interference weapons disrupted Zapirian communications throughout their fleet, while cloaked human ships approached the command vessel. The aliens realized they were under attack only seconds before the boarding parties reached their ship. Lieutenant Alex Turner led the assault team through the Zapirian command ship corridors, using sonic weapons to clear their path. The alien crew was completely unprepared for this type of close-quarters combat. Within 30 minutes, the humans had control of the entire vessel. War Commander Thex Val was captured alive along with his senior officers and the ship-complete database of Zapirian military information. For the first time since the invasion began, the aliens experienced real fear. Their supposedly invincible leader had been defeated by the primitive species he had planned to exterminate. The psychological impact of Operation Thunderbolt was enormous. Zapirian forces throughout the solar system began to doubt their chances of victory. Some units started retreating to defensive positions while others requested reinforcements from their home territories. General Stone announced the success of the mission to all human forces. Earth had proven that the Zapirian Empire could be defeated. The aliens were no longer the hunters in this conflict. Humanity had learned their technologies, mastered their tactics, and turned their own weapons against them. The war was far from over, but the balance of power had fundamentally shifted. The remaining Zapirian forces in the solar system retreated to fortified positions on Mars and several asteroid bases. Without War Commander Thex Val to coordinate their operations, the alien fleet had broken into smaller groups that were easier for human forces to defeat. Admiral Helen Brooks began a systematic campaign to eliminate these strongholds one by one. Captain Jake Morrison commanded a new fleet of hybrid vessels that combined the best human and alien technologies. His crew included veterans like Chief Engineer Pete Williams and Communications Officer Ryan Bell, who had learned to operate Zapirian systems as well as their own. The Frontier had been completely rebuilt using captured alien technology and was now faster than any ship in the Zapirian fleet. "We are no longer defending our territory," Jake told his crew during a mission briefing. "Now we hunt them down and make sure none of them escape to bring reinforcements back here." The first target was a Zapirian base hidden in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The aliens had chosen this location because they thought human ships could not navigate safely through the dense field of space rocks. They had not counted on human pilots learning to use Zapirian sensors and navigation systems. Lieutenant Alex Turner led a squadron of hybrid fighters through the asteroid field using tactics that would have been impossible with purely human technology. The fighters could change direction instantly and hide behind asteroids before launching surprise attacks on enemy positions. The Zapirian base was destroyed within hours. Most of the alien defenders were captured rather than killed, because Dr. Paul Grant's sonic weapons made it possible to disable them without causing permanent harm. These prisoners provided valuable intelligence about other enemy positions throughout the solar system. Dr. Marcus Lee's research team was now working with captured Zapirian scientists who had agreed to cooperate in exchange for better treatment. The alien researchers were amazed by human ability to combine different technologies in ways their own species had never considered. Your people think in patterns we do not understand, explained scientist Keth Moore, one of the Zapirian prisoners. You take our technology and improve it in directions we never imagined possible. This is why our empire fears you now. Dr. Carol Hayes had developed new power systems that made human ships faster and more maneuverable than their Zapirian counterparts. The hybrid engines could switch between different power modes depending on tactical requirements. Human vessels could now outrun alien ships or outfight them as the situation demanded, Commander Lisa Carter intelligence. Network had expanded to include reformed Zapirian prisoners, who provided insider knowledge of alien military procedures. Many of these aliens had begun to question their empire propaganda about human primitiveness after witnessing Earth technological adaptation firsthand. They told us you were barely intelligent animals who had stumbled onto space travel by accident, explained communications specialist Nextal during an interrogation. But your species learns faster than our computers can calculate responses. How is this possible? Lisa smiled at the question. We never stop trying to improve ourselves. Your people seem to think technology development ends when you achieve superiority over other species. Humans keep pushing forward even when we are already winning. General Kevin Stone ground forces had been completely reorganized using hybrid equipment and new tactics developed from studying Zapirian military procedures. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Miller led elite units that were trained to fight in any environment, including alien worlds with different gravity and atmospheric conditions. The next major operation targeted a Zapirian stronghold on Mars, where the aliens had established a base using the planet, natural cave systems for protection. The human assault force used captured alien tunneling equipment to approach the base from underground where their sensors could not detect the approaching attack. Major Kate Williams had developed new weapons specifically designed for underground combat. These devices use both kinetic and energy components to penetrate alien armor while minimizing damage to the surrounding rock formations. The goal was to capture the base intact so it could be used by human forces. Engineer Danny Clark had created specialized equipment for the Mars operation, including environmental suits that allowed human soldiers to work in the planet-thin atmosphere. The suits incorporated Zapirian life support technology that was more efficient than anything Earth had previously developed. The assault on the Mars base demonstrated how completely the tactical situation had changed. Human forces attacked with such coordination and efficiency that the Zapirian defenders barely had time to send a distress signal before being overwhelmed. The entire operation lasted less than 6 hours. Dr. Grant acoustic weapons proved especially effective in the confined spaces of the underground base. Zapirian soldiers could not escape the sonic fields and were incapacitated without the humans having to engage in dangerous close-quarters combat. The base was captured with minimal casualties on either side. More importantly, the humans recovered detailed intelligence about Zapirian positions throughout their empire. The aliens kept extensive records of their military operations, and these files revealed the locations of major fleet bases and manufacturing centers in other star systems. Admiral Brooks realized that humanity now had the opportunity to take the war beyond the solar system. Earth forces were no longer fighting for survival, but could actually threaten the Zapirian Empire itself. The idea of human ships attacking alien homeworlds would have seemed impossible just months earlier. Captain Morrison received orders to lead the first human expedition outside the solar system. His mission was to attack Zapirian supply lines and prevent them from sending reinforcements to continue the invasion of Earth. The frontier would be accompanied by 12 other hybrid vessels crewed by the most experienced human pilots. We are about to become the first humans to conduct offensive operations in interstellar space, Jake told Admiral Brooks before departing. Our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars in peace, but we are going there to wage war. The human fleet used captured Zapirian star charts to navigate to the nearest alien base located 15 light years from Earth. The journey took 3 weeks using hybrid faster-than-light drives that were more efficient than either species had possessed. Separately, Communications Officer Ryan Bell monitored alien transmissions during the voyage and discovered that news of War Commander Thek's Val capture had spread throughout the Zapirian Empire. Many alien commanders were now requesting permission to retreat from forward positions rather than risk capture by human forces. They are more afraid of being taken prisoner than being killed in battle, Ryan reported to Captain Morrison. Apparently, our treatment of captured aliens is considered impossibly merciful by their standards. This is causing serious morale problems in their military. The human fleet attacked 3 Zephirian supply bases in the target system and destroyed them completely. The aliens were so surprised by the appearance of human ships in their territory that they barely managed to mount any defense. Most of their vessels tried to flee rather than fight. Lieutenant Alex Turner's squadron intercepted the escaping Zephirian ships and captured several intact vessels along with their crews. These ships contained detailed information about the alien empire internal structure and military capabilities. Earth intelligence services now knew more about Zephirian weaknesses than many alien commanders. The psychological impact of human attacks on Zephirian territory was enormous. The alien empire had never been invaded by another species, and their population was not prepared for the reality of war coming to their own worlds. Panic began spreading through civilian populations on planets throughout their territory. Chief Engineer Pete Williams discovered that Zephirian manufacturing facilities were designed for mass production but not for rapid adaptation to changing requirements. Human engineers could modify their production lines much faster than aliens could respond to new tactical situations. They built their entire industrial system around the assumption that their technology would always be superior, Pete explained to Dr. Lee during a strategy meeting. When that assumption proved false, their whole economy became a liability instead of an advantage. The war had completely reversed from its original pattern. Zephirian forces were now desperately trying to defend their own territory, while human fleets ranged freely throughout alien space. What had begun as an invasion of Earth had become a human conquest of the Zephirian Empire. Admiral Helen Brooks stood in the main command center watching displays that showed human fleets operating throughout Zephirian space. What had started as a desperate defense of Earth had become the largest military campaign in human history. 12 different battle groups were attacking alien positions across 6 star systems, while the Zephirian Empire struggled to coordinate any effective response. The final assault on the Zephirian homeworld of Zephus Prime required careful planning and perfect execution. Admiral Brooks coordinated a multi-pronged attack that included conventional space forces, special operations teams, and psychological warfare specialists. The operation would demonstrate that humans excelled at building alliances, while the Zephirians had ruled through fear alone. Captain Jake Morrison commanded the main assault fleet approaching Zephus Prime. His forces included volunteers from 3 different alien species that had joined humanity cause after being liberated from Zephirian occupation. The Kepler inhabitants had provided advanced metallurgy techniques, while the Proxima engineers contributed improved shield technology. The Zephirians always claimed they were bringing order to the galaxy, Jake told his diverse crew as they prepared for the final battle. But their version of order meant slavery for everyone else. Today we show them what real cooperation can accomplish. Dr. Marcus Lee had developed the ultimate weapon against Zephirian resistance. His quantum communication virus could spread through their entire network, turning their own technology against them. When activated, the virus would cause chaos throughout the alien empire by feeding false information to their command systems. Dr. Carol Hayes and Dr. Paul Grant had perfected acoustic weapons that could neutralize entire Zephirian cities without destroying the infrastructure. These devices would allow human forces to occupy alien worlds peacefully, rather than conquering them through destructive warfare. The approach to Zephus Prime revealed the true scale of Zephirian desperation. The aliens had assembled every available warship to defend their homeworld, including obsolete vessels that should have been retired decades earlier. Over 2,000 ships waited in orbit around the planet, but their crews were demoralized and poorly coordinated. Engineer Danny Clark hybrid ships proved devastatingly effective during the opening phases of the battle. The vessels could switch between different technological configurations faster than Zapirian sensors could track them. Human pilots used this advantage to attack from unexpected angles while avoiding return fire. Colonel Sam Parker led fighter squadrons that swarmed through enemy formations like deadly insects. The hybrid fighters were individually superior to Zapirian vessels, and human pilots had learned to coordinate their attacks with surgical precision. Entire alien squadrons were destroyed before they could mount effective resistance. Lieutenant Alex Turner had been promoted to squadron commander and was leading elite units equipped with the most advanced hybrid technology available. His ships could phase in and out of normal space using modified Zapirian dimensional drives that had been improved by human engineers. "We are not just defeating them," Alex reported to Captain Morrison during the battle. "We are making their own technology work better than they ever managed to achieve. Every system we capture becomes more effective under human control." On the surface of Zephus Prime, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Miller Special Forces were conducting precision strikes against key infrastructure targets. His teams used sonic weapons to disable alien defenders, then secured important facilities intact for future use by the occupation government. The Zapirian ground forces had no effective response to human guerrilla tactics. Their military doctrine assumed that superior technology would always overcome inferior numbers, but humans had reversed this equation by mastering alien technology while maintaining their tactical flexibility. War Commander Thex Val watched the battle from his prison cell aboard the Frontier, feeling a mixture of admiration and horror at what humanity had accomplished. His own species had required centuries to develop their military capabilities, but humans had surpassed them in less than 1 year. "Your people are unlike anything we have encountered before," Thex Val told Commander Lisa Carter during an interrogation. "Most species either submit to our power or are destroyed by it. You turned our own strength against us and made it your..." Lisa nodded as she reviewed intelligence reports from across the battlefield. "Humans have always been good at learning from our enemies. The more pressure you applied, the faster we adapted. Your mistake was thinking that technology alone could guarantee victory." Dr. Lee quantum virus began spreading through Zapirian communication networks, causing massive confusion among their fleet commanders. Ships lost contact with their assigned targets while receiving contradictory orders from multiple sources. The carefully planned defense of Zephus Prime collapsed into chaos within hours. Major Kate Williams coordinated the occupation of key cities on the planet's surface using non-lethal weapons and negotiation rather than destructive force. Most Zapirian civilians surrendered peacefully when they realized that humans were offering better living conditions than their own government had provided. The climactic space battle occurred when the remnants of the Zapirian fleet made a desperate final assault on Admiral Brooks' command ship. Over 500 alien vessels concentrated their fire on the human flagship, but the attack failed when hybrid shield technology proved capable of absorbing energy levels that would have destroyed any purely human or alien vessel. Captain Morrison led a counterattack that broke the alien formation and scattered their remaining ships throughout the system. Many Zapirian commanders chose to surrender rather than continue a hopeless fight against an enemy that had proven superior in every aspect of warfare. Engineer Pete Williams was amazed by how effectively human and alien technologies could be combined when proper engineering principles were applied. Their equipment was designed to work in isolation, but our systems are built for integration and adaptation. That made all the difference in the end. The final surrender came when Emperor Zex Thule himself contacted General Kevin Stone to request terms for ending the war. The Zapirian leader had never appeared on any battlefield, but was forced to acknowledge that his empire could not survive continued conflict with humanity. "We underestimated your species completely," Emperor Zex Thule admitted during the negotiation. "Our intelligence reports described you as primitive savages who had barely achieved space travel. We never imagined that primitiveness might actually be a form of strength." General Stone accepted the Zapirian surrender, but imposed strict conditions to prevent future aggression. The alien empire would be restructured under human supervision, with democratic governments replacing the old military hierarchy. Zapirian technology would be shared freely with all species in the galaxy to promote peaceful development. Dr. Grant Acoustic research had revealed that many alien species could communicate, using frequency ranges that humans could not naturally hear. This discovery led to the development of universal translation systems that would prevent future conflicts caused by misunderstanding between different peoples. The final scene showed Captain Morrison standing on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at the surrendered Zapirian fleet. Commander Carter reported that representatives from 12 different alien civilizations were requesting diplomatic contact with Earth. They all wanted to avoid the fate that had befallen the Zapirian Empire. Word has spread throughout the galaxy about what happened here, Lisa told Jake as they watched alien ambassadors arriving at the peace negotiations. Everyone now knows that humanity is not to be underestimated regardless of how primitive we might appear. Jake smiled as he thought about the long journey from that first contact in the Kepler system to this moment of victory. Humanity had proven that adaptability, determination, and cooperation were more powerful than any weapon. The galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating Earth again. The war had cost millions of lives on both sides, but it had also united humanity with other species in ways that peaceful contact might never have achieved. From the ashes of the Zapirian Empire, a new galactic civilization would emerge based on cooperation rather than conquest. Communications Officer Ryan Bell received reports that human exploration fleets were already planning missions to distant star systems, where other alien civilizations waited to be contacted. This time humanity would approach them as equals rather than supplicants offering friendship instead of demanding submission. The final lesson of the war was that technological superiority meant nothing without the wisdom to use it properly. The Zephirians had possessed advanced weapons and faster ships, but they had never learned to adapt or cooperate. Humanity had turned those advantages against them by being willing to learn and change when circumstances required it.